We've just arrived at Brands Hatch and we're on our way to the pit lane so that we can get the car checked over, which is called scrutineering. So they're going to do that. I did think about bringing my own car today, but the chances are I'm going to get through tyres and brakes, and tyres and brakes on my car are going to cost thousands versus the little Fiesta. So I'm going to be doing it in the Fiesta today, and we're slightly lost, although this kind of looks more like where we should be. What's that? That's, yeah, so there's no one to ask. Hey everyone, so there was we managed to find where we needed to go in the end, and I'm nervous but so excited. I have been waiting for this for months. I actually booked this back in March, like a long time ago, and I've been looking forward to it for ages, so I can't wait to kind of get out there on track. What I'm going to be doing today is I'm actually doing a one-to-one with an instructor, because I thought I could just go on track and go for it, but I've never driven this track before, I've never driven at Brands Hatch before, and I want to actually get that tuition so that I get the most out of the day and that I know what I'm doing. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. I need to go now and sign on at Race Services, and then as I mentioned earlier, I've got to take the car where they check it over and they check the sound, they make sure it complies, etc. So we're going to be doing that, and yeah, let's go. David has just put the essential tow bar on, so that if I break down and have an accident, God forbid, that they can tow me off track. And I've also got my Brands Hatch sticker that has to go in the window, and they've given me a number as well, so that if I drive badly, they can call my number and call me off. Again, God willing, that won't happen. I just did the first initial lap, which was a lap of 3 to get used to the track. So I've done that now, and now we're going to wait until 10 o'clock. So an hour, like just under an hour, which is when I go out on track to actually do a proper lap. And I've got 3 sessions booked today with an instructor, because I really want to get my head around this track. I've never driven here before, and I really want to be as good as I can be at it. So the first familiarization lap was really good. Now we've just got to wait around. Maybe I'll go and get a coffee, and then we're gonna head and do our next few laps.
It's recording.
I can't remember what I've said. I'm currently waiting for my instructor because we're about to go on track, and I think I said earlier, I've got 3 sessions booked to really get the hang of this track, to really understand it. I cannot wait to learn. I've never driven Brands Hatch before. I just cannot wait to learn it. And I feel really bad because David's got to stay behind and hang around, mill around. What are you going to do? Film. It's just me today doing this. So it's the end of the day, and one thing I didn't tell you, because I didn't want to say it and then potentially fail, but the reason for today is I was doing my racing license so that I can compete, and I did it, and it was really difficult. It went on from 12:30 until, what time is it now, 4 o'clock. It was written and it was practical, so it was like 2 parts to it, and I passed. What can I say? But you know what? I've been studying for weeks for this, haven't I? David's sick to death. I'm dreaming about flag colours and rules, like starting rules and stuff like that. I've done my head in with it. And so I felt pretty comfortable for the written. But then when I opened up the written paper and I was reading the questions, I was like, oh my God, these are actually really difficult. And I'd studied them, but not at any great detail, but I managed to get them right, thank God. Yeah, I've passed, so I'm now the proud owner of a racing licence. I just have to wait for it to arrive in the post. But now we are going to head home, celebrate, and have a nice evening. Hey everyone, I know that I kind of spoke to you in this video a little bit about what I did and what the process was, but I thought that I would come on here and properly talk about it, because honestly on the day I was so excited and so caught up in the excitement of having passed that I don't know how much I said or explained. And for any of you thinking about sitting your ARDS exam, or if you're just interested, then I thought I would show you my license. I will show you the little bits and pieces that you get, and I will talk to you about the process. Just for any of you watching, because I know when I wanted to do my ARDS test, I was on Google trying to find videos and I could not find many videos, because you know what I wanted to know? I was scared to death about the process. I wanted to know the process, how does it work, what order do things go in, how strict are the instructors? I wanted to know all of it. So what happened was, what you can do is I will try and find the website and I'll link to it below, but there are various test centres across the country, so you should be able to find one closest to you. I did it at Brands Hatch because I'm in London and Brands Hatch is the closest. There is also another one at Silverstone. I have heard that Silverstone is very difficult to pass at. That's not why I didn't go there. I didn't go there because it's miles away, but I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that Silverstone is not easy. But I did it at Brands Hatch, and what we did on the day, so you've got a pre-book and you've got to phone up, and you can either just do a regular track day if you just want to get your practice in, or you can do an instructor track day. So you can either do the whole day with an instructor or just like a few hours, or you can book your ARDS, or you can do an instructor plus ARDS. So what I decided to do was I do a lot of track days, but I hadn't done one in a very long time and I was rusty, and I've never driven at Brands Hatch before. So we took the car. David patiently waited for me the whole day. He was fantastic, and we were there the whole day. We had to get there at 7 in the morning and we didn't finish until 5 or 6. It was a long day. I was so tired at the end of it, but we got there. You sign on, so you have to go through to a certain block where you sign on, and you sign on with other people, combination of people who are doing track days and a combination of people who are doing the exam. I was so nervous. I have never been more nervous in my life, but nervous, excited. You know that excited feeling that you get because you're about to do a test and you're really hoping you pass. And I didn't tell anyone that I was doing the test, because a bit like with my main driving test, I thought if I fail, I don't want to have to tell everyone I failed. So anyway, you sign on. After you've done that, you have to take your vehicle to go and be tested. So they look at, like, there's a certain decibels of noise that you can't exceed, and they put almost like a microphone by the exhaust of your car, and then you rev the heck out of it and they monitor the sound. And if you pass, they put a little sticker on your windscreen so that you're good to go. Then you have to do a formation lap, it's called, and you do this, you would do this at the start of any race, and it's where you get in a line with everyone else on the track day or everyone else doing the exam. Everyone does it. This is me. I'm in the white Ford Fiesta, and you go out on track and you familiarize yourself with it. I had an instructor, so I went round quite a few times on my own, but then I got an instructor, and honestly, even if you think you're really good, and I'm sure you are, but even if you think you're really good, have like a couple of hours with an instructor, because honestly, they improve your driving so much. They teach you so much. They teach you when to brake in corners, when to accelerate. They teach you all of it. Now, the other thing you have to do with the ARDS test is weeks before, I literally did this weeks before, it depends how up to scratch you are, but there is a yearbook. And it's called the Blue Book, and this Blue Book is like a PDF of something crazy, like 500 pages, and you have to read it, and it's all rules and regulations.
and you have to read it, and it has to stick. Now, you don't have to read the whole book, because there are bits to do with different... I wanted to do my race license, not my like rally license or anything like that. So you have to read the bit to do with race licensing. I read that, and even on the day when I did the exam, there were questions that I struggled with because I couldn't quite remember it, because the regulations are so boring to read. It's written in like legal terminology. I don't want to put anyone off here, but you've got to read it and you've got to absorb it and take it in. So that's the other thing. And you have to learn flags as well. So flag colours, what they all mean. Once you've done that, on the day, you sit your practical test first. And I didn't do it in my own car. No one that did the exam was allowed to do it in our own car. We had to do it in the examiner's car, which is this M4 BMW. And what they did was they took us round first, then they come back into the pits, and then you go round. And do you know something? I would have done so much better if I'd done it in my own car, because this is my first time ever driving this car. You don't have to do it just the once. They do let you go round a couple of times to kind of get into the groove with it. But I was not familiar with this car. So you'd come into a corner and I'd be like, oh my God, am I pushing up or pulling down on the gear stick? Because it wasn't manual either. Like, I'd been driving a manual that day. Sequential, do you call it? I think it's sequential. So anyway, you do the practical, then you come back into the pits. And when they're examining you on the practical, because they suddenly go quiet and they don't say anything. They say nothing. It's silence. Then you come back into the pits. Then you go through to a classroom where they give you an exam paper, and the flags, I think the flags from memory are multiple choice. Some of it's multiple choice, some of it isn't. So online, when I was looking online to know what the test was like, everyone was like, oh, it's easy, it's multiple choice. Not all of it is. When I did it, not all of it was actually. And some of it was to do with guidelines. And I was just like, oh my God, trying to remember. The other thing was, I was the only woman doing the test. So I was just in this room, and do you know something? The guys were so nice to me, and the guys were like, why are you here? What are you doing this for? And it was so, I think because even the examiner said to me, I'm interested to know your story. I want to know, like, why are you here? We don't get many women doing this. And so it was like quite interesting, and you get to talk to everyone before the exam. Then the exam starts, you open up the paper, you go through, there's a set amount of time. I found that I didn't need all of the time to answer the questions, and you have to close your paper after and then you wait. Then, actually correction, you do the written test first, then you go out and track. Correction on that. Then you go out and track, you do your practical. Then you come in, and the examiner, by this point, knows if you've passed the written or not. If you fail either, you've got to do the whole thing again. So even if you fail one, doesn't matter, you failed. They took me through into like this private room, and my heart was racing because I didn't know. And I felt like I'd failed a few of those questions, and on flags, you have to get 100% to even consider passing. But I knew my flags. I had learnt them so much. I knew my flags. I knew that. It was just the guideline questions that were a struggle. But then he said to me, he was like, okay, out of A to D, I'm going to grade you B on the driving, and you've passed the test. And I was just like, and then they sign. You have like a document that you have to take with you. They sign it, signature it, and then you post it off to the ARDS people, and they send you back a little pack, like a welcome pack. But they also send you, I'm going to cover this up because it's got my license number on it. But this is what your license looks like. I need to update mine. This is my 2023 one. They send you paperwork at the beginning of each year to update it. There's a reason why I haven't updated it. I'll tell you why. And then on the back, it's got your picture, and it's got here, if you have any medical problems, it gets written in here, and then they send you a lanyard as well, and that's what you wear it on. You have to do a medical. But it's on the form, so you have to go to a doctor if you have any problems, like any heart conditions, any diabetes, anything, the list of things that you might have wrong with you, it's massive. And so unless you've got a really clean bill of health, you will probably find something. Now for me, it was I've got to wear lenses or glasses to drive, which I already knew. You have to do a sight test, including colour blindness test. All of this costs money. I also had to pay the optician £120 because it was an extended eye test that had to include the colour blindness, which they don't normally do. So it's expensive. That's why I haven't updated my license, because I don't plan on driving this year because I don't have a car at the moment. And I know I only did this in June. You get 6 months. You get 6 months. I only did it in June, so I spent all of that money June 2023, and now I'd have to do it again in January, and that's why I didn't bother. For me, my plan with this, you also get a sticker to put on your windscreen, by the way, that says competitor, and it's got the year. So that's when you race, and you get a card that they fill in, and it's got your competitor's name on it, it's got your license number, all of that. And then whenever you do a race, this gets filled in for you. And you've also got to put your picture on there as well. And whenever you go to a race, you present that at the start along with your license, etc. So that's what to expect. I would say, if you're going to do this test, if you're still watching this because you're interested in this test and you want to know what to expect, study, study, study. I gave myself 3 months before I did the test to study, because that blue book is crazy long, and as I've said, written in legal speak. And in order to really take it on board, I wrote loads of notes. I had a notebook, I had all of my flags written in it. I got my husband David to just test me on stuff. He'd be like, blue flag, what does it mean? And I'd have to say, all of this stuff you have to learn. And I didn't want to overstress myself by booking the test in a couple of weeks when I hadn't learnt the blue book. So that's why I left myself 3 months. And do you know what I did? I tested myself. In the last 3 weeks before the test, I tested myself every single night until I was dreaming about rules, regulations and flags. So that's what I would say to do. If you're looking to sit your test, I hope this has helped. I hope that you are, well, just be excited about it. Have fun with it. And do you know what? If you fail, you can do it again. Who cares? Just do it again. I know it's money, but you can just do it again. So enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video.